Good evening, everyone. This is John again, hosting the Daily Dose. I actually had travel this week, so you got me here in Memphis. Getting ready to talk to you about Week 7 in the NFL. Thank you all for watching. If you have not subscribed, please do below. Also, like these videos and comment. I want them to be interactive, so there'll be things that we talk about. I want you to comment on that, ask questions, give me your opinion. That's the whole point of this show, is to be very opinionated based. I just want to say, apologize I didn't get a video out earlier this weekend. I did have my birthday party this weekend and it was fun, so I appreciate y'all waiting for today. So I do have a few highlights I want to talk about from Week 7. I got my notes over on the side of what I want to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is Tom Brady. So if you guys didn't get to watch New England Patriots won again this week, they went against the New York Jets, and it came down to the fourth quarter, and Tom Brady does what Tom Brady does. He wins. And they won again this week. Looking at my notes, he was 34 of 54, 2 touchdowns through the air, and he also ran 1 touchdown in. It's not very often that you get to see Tom Brady be the guy who's running in your touchdowns, but he does it here and there, and this week he did get a touchdown off running. So that's 3 more added on for the season. Again, remember, he has only thrown 1 interception. His passing rating, again, was like a 99.6, I believe, this week. So he was able to do the things that he's been able to do all year. There's a few highlights that I find interesting from that game. Number one, Tom Brady threw the ball 54 times and was also their leading rusher on New England. He ran the ball 4 times for 15 yards. Why is that so important? There's 2 things that I find interesting about this. Number one, you have a quarterback throwing the ball 54 times in the game. That's a lot of passes. That's a lot of passes in one game on your shoulder. Can he continue to do that? I think so. If you look at Tom Brady health-wise, he seems to be in some of the best condition he's been his entire career. What I also find really interesting is they knew how good New York's defense was. And what do? They go against their weaknesses. And in the same sense, they go against their strongest parts of their team. They went against their cornerbacks. They went against their safeties, and they were able to throw the ball and say, not only can we beat you running, i.e. Tom Brady run the ball in, we can also beat you passing, and that's what we did this week. We said we will be a better team than you. We will pass the ball more than you. We will show you why we're so good. However, I do not want to discredit how good New York is doing this year. They are playing really good football. They seem to have good leadership where they're taking out of the media, where it has not been the focus on the coach, it's been the focus on the team. They still have some quarterback issues that they have to work out, but I think that they have a solid quarterback for the remainder of this year. If they keep with him, they allow him to lead the team, maybe they can allow their backups to actually develop. Geno Smith needs that time to develop, and I think that this is a perfect fit for him to be able to develop. So, New York, keep up the work. I want you to beat the Patriots. I want the Patriots to go down. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And Tom Brady, you're playing great football. Bill Belichick, you're a great coach. And New England's showing it again. The next thing that I want to talk about, Kirk Cousins. Yeah, we're going to talk about Washington on this video tonight. Washington came back in the fourth quarter and won this week. It was the biggest comeback in Washington's history. And it was led by Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was 33 of 40 with 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Now, Kirk Cousins has a lot of developing that he needs to do. But a game like this is really going to help in that development process because you get that confidence in you. And I feel like this was a good game for him to get that. I feel like his coaching team is behind him. I feel like he doesn't have to worry about Robert Griffin III taking over his position. As you all are aware, Robert Griffin III is barely dressing, if at all, for any of these games. So Kirk Cousins has to continue to do what he did this week. He has to continue to limit the amount of turnovers. He has to continue to allow himself to develop in the manner that he's doing. I think Washington has the ability to be a good team. I hope that they continue to make those developments. Only for the simple fact that I want to see teams get better. I think the better each team is, the better the competition in the league. So Kirk Cousins had a good game this week, and I want to see him have another good game this next week. I want to see that consistency. I want him to limit the turnovers. I feel like week to week it's been a hit and miss where some weeks he'll have 2 or 3 turnovers. This week he had 0. So I want to see that keep up. The next thing that I want to talk about is my team. I told you all last week in my video that the team that really needed the win was Kansas City. And what did they do this week? They came out and they won. Now, I realize that they're going against the third string quarterback in Landry Jones. But, Landry Jones isn't necessarily a bad quarterback. And it's not that they even played bad this last week. Pittsburgh played a really good game in Kansas City. However, for any team that goes to Kansas City, they have to deal with the crowd noise. And if you've never been to their stadium, it gets loud. I was actually lucky enough to go there when they broke the record against New England last year on Monday night. It was amazing. And I've been there quite a few times, and each time you go, you see how loud that stadium is, and it's hard to deal with, especially as a new quarterback who has limited reps with the first string team. But they played a good game. However, Kansas City did play a better game, and they got the win this week. Now, Alex Smith was able to throw one touchdown, and he was able to go 21 of 35. However, he had a great running back this week. I know Jamal Charles went out with that knee surgery. He actually had the surgery up here at the KU Medical Center, so hopefully he can recover soon. But I do want to talk about West. West was able to carry the ball on average of 5 yards per carry. Hopefully that can stick each game and maybe even go a little bit higher. But 5 yards a carry is really good, especially for a guy who was undrafted this year, was then cut by Kansas City, and then, wasn't undrafted. He was picked up, cut by Kansas City, and then brought back to the practice squad, and now he's on the main roster. Chandrick West is doing great. I want to see him continue to have those long runs. I want to see him keep that average up. I also want to see Kansas City get Niall Davis involved a little bit more. I think that you could really have a good dynamic back with him and Chandrick West. Just my opinion. I also am glad to see that Alex Smith was able to stay upright, because remember what I said last week. Any quarterback laying on his back isn't good for a team. He was able to get that ball off more. He even had a pass that went 40 yards. He's throwing the ball downfield more. I feel like that this was another week, kind of like I was saying about Kirk Cousins and how you're able to build that confidence. This was a good confidence-building week. You did not have your star running back, and you're not going to have the rest of the year, but you were able to have a back step up to help your team. You also lost your number one receiver in Jeremy Maclin, but you had others stepping up. For my fantasy team, I really hope Jeremy Maclin's back this coming week, but I also want to see the progressions that they had during this game. I want to see that ball going downfield. I want to see a good run game, and I want to see Alex Smith stay on his feet. Those are the things that I'm looking for as a fan. Those are the things that I'm looking for as a person who says, what can we do to get better? Those are those things. So I want to see that. The next thing I want to talk about kind of hits home for me is Arian Foster. Arian Foster, beginning of the year in training camp, hurts his hamstring. He comes back, and then this week on a non-contact play, he tears his Achilles. And the reason why I say it hits home for me is I've actually torn my Achilles. I'm waiting to have surgery. Mine's actually next month. And so I understand what he's going through. But what's even worse for him is he is now not able to do the one thing that he really enjoys. You have 16 weeks a year to prove that you are the best team in the National Football League. And I know that Houston's struggling. Don't get me wrong. Houston is struggling. But for a man who is his caliber to not be able to play is hard. Now, I say that he has had a lot of injuries throughout his career. So I hope that they bring him back slow. I hope they allow this Achilles to heal well, that he can get his legs underneath him, that his rehab will go well, and that when he comes back next year, that he has had all the adequate time to rest, so that way he is a force on the football field for Houston. In that same sense, we all know that running backs do not last very long in this league. So I hope that Houston finds the next running back that they want to take that spot, whether it's in the draft or whether it is Blue. Whoever it may be, Houston needs to look for the solution. On that same thing with Houston, Ryan Mallett. What do you all think about that? How do you miss a plane? You had one job. And what did he do? He got cut. Does everyone care? What are your opinions about that? Comment below on what you think about Ryan Mallett. We could discuss that next week. However, in my mind, if I'm late for work, if I don't show up, guess what? I would get fired too. He is supposed to be a professional. He was upset because he got cut. That's on him. He can be upset by that. He could also be pouting about the fact that Brian Hoyer took his position. The thing is, it's all on him. He has to be the guy to say, I want to be better, and he has to determine or make himself determined to be the best. and he hasn't done that. Can he be the best? Not in my opinion. I think there's a lot that has to change. I think that sitting behind Tom Brady, you should be better than where you are at. However, let's see if he gets another shot in the National Football League. Comment below on that one. Last thing I want to talk about, well, actually, there's two more things. Cam Newton. I told you all last week that I thought he was the MVP. This week, I could go either way. I want to hear what you think and who you think the MVP is and why through week 7. But Cam Newton got the win again. The W's are the most important thing. His team's still undefeated. Yes, he had 3 interceptions. Some of them were off the hands of his receiver. One was actually taken out of his receiver's hands as they were going down. But he had another rushing touchdown and another throwing touchdown and is 3 away from having the record. Now Steve Young carries that record at 31 games. Cam Newton just got it, and now he's at 28. So Cam Newton, keep up the good work. I want to see you get that record. The last thing I want to talk about is my roller coaster team that I've been telling you about, which if you remember from last week, I said they were the biggest upset. This week, I'm saying the roller coaster is going again, which is the 49ers. Progression is key. Keeping your quarterback upright is key. Having that pocket surrounding him is key, not running so much. Can the 49ers turn around? I don't know. Let's hear what you have to say about those areas. So let's talk about Ryan Mallett. I want to see your comments. Who do you think should be MVP? And do you think that the 49ers can turn their season around? That is all up to you. I want to hear your opinions on that. Before I go, I do want to thank my sponsors, S15designs.com. You all need to check them out. Great t-shirt apparel company. They have a lot of different things on their website. If you haven't checked them out, remember that's S15designs.com. Thank you all. Please subscribe below, comment and like the video. Dislike the video if you dislike it. Honesty is the best key for these conversations. Hope to have another video up here in the next couple days. We got NBA starting, so we're going to talk about the NBA. My team, I'm actually a player fan, LeBron James, which we'll probably talk about tomorrow. And then we got the World Series going on. So keep checking back for more videos. Thank you all. Have a great evening.